Hi, it's August 16, 2020. I'm Todd Dunn, and today I am aboard my 1936 wooden powerboat Tortuga. And what I'm going to do today is show you the procedure for taking the boat out single-handed. Once we get out of here, we will cruise briefly, and I'll show you how loud it is in here at different engine RPMs. And then we'll come back and I will return to my slip single-handed with no assistance from anybody at the marina. So, let's get going. Okay, before we get underway, it's time to do a quick check of the engine. So, we'll open up the compartment, do an oil check. And that is fine. Back in. Verify the coolant level is good and the raw water intake is open. And that's all there is to checking the engine out. Now I'm going to go through the preliminaries to getting the engine started and getting underway. So I'm going to start up my chart plotter, which is running on my Raspberry Pi, and that'll start up. Plug the GPS in, and once this is running, I will start the actual chart plotter software. And while I'm waiting for that, turn the engine switch on. I've already turned the main power switch on down below for the auxiliaries. Full screen. As soon as the GPS starts getting a signal, we'll be ready to go. So at this point, I think I'm going to start the engine up, which is pretty straightforward. It'll beep here in a second. Start it. And there we go. And I'm going to log my start. And the GPS is sending signal to the plotter now, so I have chart plotter running. And the next step is just to get everything else turned on. So I will turn the depth sounder on, my VHF radio, and I've also turned on an engine blower. So as soon as the GPS and everything is up and running now. So at this point, I'm just going to check the engine and make sure that we're getting raw water out the exhaust for the cooling. Before we go, I want to point out the one thing that's a little tricky about getting out of here, and that is the distance to the boat in the next slip, which is maybe 6-7 feet. So we have to go straight back. So at this point, what I'm going to do, since the engine seems to be running well, everything is going, I'm getting raw water flow through the engine cooling system, is start undoing the lines so that we can back out of here. One issue here is that with the large boats that are moored over to starboard, I can't see if any boats are coming in. So I kind of have to take a chance that nobody's going to be coming in when I back out. Now that isn't always the case, but you can't see past these big guys, so it's basically impossible to tell if somebody's over there. First thing I'm going to do is undo my spring line. I'm going to to set it on the dock so that I can pick it up when I come back in. Before I undo the rest of the lines, I want to point out that when this boat is in reverse, it does prop walk the stern to port. So what I'm going to do is give it some starboard helm. Hopefully, once we get moving, that will compensate that and let me go straight back. Here we are, ready to go. I'll close that window once we're off the dock. That is all there is to getting off the dock. But you do need to know the handling characteristics of your boat. Now, we will head out, log us off the dock, and we're underway. So as soon as I get around the end of the pier and can see if anybody's coming, I'm going to go back and secure a window that's open aft. Looks fine. Just gonna set the boat up here. Bring it down to idle so it's not going very fast. And go close that window. Okay, we're underway and off the dock. So we're going to run out, and what I'm going to do once the engine warms up a little is I'm going to run at different engine RPM levels just to show you what the noise level in here is. So I'm going to stop for a second until the engine warms up. Okay, what I want to do now that the engine's warmed up a little is just run the engine at different RPMs to show you the noise level in the boat when it's underway. Now I have windows open forward and aft to get some airflow through here because it's fairly hot in here with the sun on the cabin top. And we will come up here and rev the engine up. Right now I'm running at about 1150 RPMs just to get the engine warmed up without putting any significant load on it. Got a couple boats coming in, so I'm going to steer into the mooring field to get away from them. It'll be a minute or two until they're passed before I have clear water to do my engine tests. Boat is just about passed. Engine's up to 175. That's warm enough to start increasing the RPMs. So the first thing I'm going to do is go up to my normal cruising RPMs of 1500. Alright, we're running at 1500 RPMs and this is the noise level. Remember, the engine is right there. And the only thing that's keeping it quiet in here for this RPM level is the 2 inches of sound down insulation. See what 1500 RPM sounds like. So now I'll take it up to the next speed I cruise at sometimes, which is 1800. It's The engine has a bit of a resonant vibration in the boat at 1700, which you'll probably hear as we go up. Okay, this is 1800 RPMs. This lets me cruise at about 6.3 knots, which is what we'll get up to if we continue here. But you can see this is no problem carrying on a normal conversation here in the upper cabin at this engine speed. Alright, now that you've heard that, I'm going to push her up to 2,000, which is my preferred cruising speed. My wife doesn't like it. She thinks it's a little bit too loud. There we go. This is 2,000 RPMs, and at this engine speed, the boat goes just about 7 knots on flat water. We're going into a slight headwind here and some small waves, so we're probably running 6-8 or so. So this is a good speed if you want to cover some ground. Now, I seldom run the boat for any length of time at higher engine RPMs than this. The engine is rated for 3,200 RPMs, and the way I've got it set up, it doesn't go much over 3,000. Not because it can't, but because throttle hits the bulkhead here. So we're going to take her up to 2,500. See what she sounds like. Okay, this is 2,500 RPMs. This gives me about 8.5 knots. See, we're really clipping along compared to what we were doing before. And we are leaving a little bit of a weight. Not huge by powerboat standards, because this boat is a full displacement hull and really doesn't leave much weight. Okay, that's 2,500. Now let's take her up to wide open throttle. Okay, the boat's been in the water for about 2 months, and we're getting about 2950 because there is a little growth on the hull. This is wide open throttle. We're doing about 9 knots right now. This is a little loud for routine conversation, but I seldom run at this speed. Okay, let's slow down. And head back in. Okay, there I am on my normal cruising RPMs. I'm actually running 1550 RPMs, which is about 5.4 knots, which is very comfortable speed to cruise at. Now when I turn around, we're going to see one aspect of this boat. Because it has a full displacement hull with round bilges, it does roll when it takes seas beam through. Okay, nobody behind me. We've got small waves here, so you'll probably notice a bit of roll when we get beam to the seas. I'll hold it there for just a second so you can see. Now, yeah, we're rolling a little, not much. The seas aren't very big, but a lot more than we're heading into the seas. Here we go. Rest of our 180-degree turn. And at this point, I'm going to head back to the dock and show you how I do a single-handed pickup in my slip. Well, here we go on the final approach to the marina. I come in here and swing fairly wide and go past where my slip is so that I can turn and head directly into the slip. Now, as I mentioned before I backed the boat out, when I stop the boat, Proc block will push the stern of the boat to port, which is that way. the slip is on that side. So when I come in, I'm going to come in at a slight angle to the finger pier that I'm tying up to, so that the bow is a little bit closer to the stern, so that when I stop the boat, it will just swing the stern over against the pier. I have fenders rigged on the finger pier, so it's my home dock, so I don't have to put any out. But we will come in and make our tie-up. So as I maneuver in here, the marina and the boats are off to starboard and you can't see them. So I'm going to make a port side tie-up, which if I had the camera pointed the other way, you wouldn't be able to see the maneuvering as we come in. Now, what I'm going to do, again, since this is my home slip, I leave a spring line on the dock. So what I'm going to come in and do is come into the dock and stop the boat, and then I'll reach out, pick up the spring line, and put it on my midships cleat. And at that point I will be attached to the dock. Once I've done that, I will come back to the helm. I'm going to put the engine in forward at idle and put the helm hard over to starboard. That will have the effect of pulling the boat in against the finger pier, so that I can then get off the boat and tie up the bow and stern lines. So, just about ready to start our turn. Nobody coming in behind me. There we go. I'm running about 3.5 knots right now. And as I said, I'm not going to come in parallel to the finger pier. I'm going to come in at a very slight angle to it so the bow is closer to the stern. Now, we do have a slight wind, which is going to have a tendency to blow me off of the finger pier, so I got to get this right. And here we go. Go to neutral, just to let the boat slow a little more. Now in slightly. So come in here. And at this point I'm going to reverse. Stop the boat. And we'll reach out, grab helm's hard to starboard, boat's in gear, spring line is attached. As you can see, we're just pulling in against the dock. So at this point I will get out, tie up the lines, and that will be my single-handed return to my slip. Okay, we're tied up, so I can take the boat out of gear. Put my helm back to center. And now I will shut the engine down. And start turning things off. And that's it. That is single-handed out of my slip in the marina. A short cruise to show you how loud the boat is at different engine RPMs. And then a single-handed return to the slip. And the key to the single-handed return to the slip is having the spring line, which I can pick up from the dock, or in a worst case can snag with my boat hook, which I have right here, which once I get that on, turning away from the dock and putting the boat back in gear just pulls the boat into the dock, and no problem getting out of the boat and tying it up then. Okay, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please give me a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel and click that notification bell.